Welcome to Pastor's Chat today. Well, we're looking at Psalm 141. But before I make a few comments about verse 5 in this chapter, I wanted to just again thank you for your prayers the last couple of days as we traveled back and forth to Roanoke and did Shelby Leonard's service, homegoing service, which was a wonderful homegoing for her. Continue to pray for their family. Well, we are so blessed to have the Word of God to give us wise counsel, especially in these dark and dreary and dismal days. Oh, what would we do without the Word of God? Well, David knew that he could not make it without the counsel of God. And as we look at the passage in front of us today, Psalm 141, David again, over and again, is crying out for God to help. So what do you do when the enemy attacks you? Satan and all his forces seem to come against you, or you're facing challenges, difficulties that are insurmountable, and you're wondering, how can I get through this or by this, or what is God trying to speak to me about in this? And as you look at that, there's several things that David did. Remember, first, David basically said, I will seek God's help in the time of trouble. Many of us turn to so many other things. Some people turn to drugs, some people turn to alcohol, others turn to, well, dependent upon some other person or friend that it's good to have, but my friend, there's no friend like Jesus to help us in our time of need, to call upon him. So David says, I'm going to cry and seek the Lord for help in the first couple verses. Then in verses 3 and 4, he says, I'm going to also do my best not to be a complainer, a griper, someone that says things that I shouldn't say in the time of my distress and my trouble. Oh, that's sometimes when we get in the worst trouble, is when we're facing a difficult time and without thinking, we open our mouth and say things that we shouldn't. So David said, I'm going to keep my mouth from sin. God, help me to do that. Now in verse 5, we just have to take a few minutes on this today. David now says, what I want to do, I will seek godly, wise counsel. I'll let God turn me around with his reproof. And so he says in verse 5, let the righteous smite me or strike me. It shall be a kindness. And let him rebuke me. It shall be as excellent oil. Let my head not refuse it. For still my prayer is against the deeds of the wicked. And so David here asked, let the righteous strike me. And some say that could be translated, let the righteous one, God himself, strike me. David knew that he wasn't perfect. He had failures in his life. He had sins in his life, and he daily needed to seek the Lord. Remember in Psalm 139, as he talks about how great God is to fearfully and wonderfully make him, he says, search me, O God, try me, see if there be any iniquity or any wicked way within me. And so here he's asking for wise counsel. I think of the verse in Proverbs chapter 1 where God says, turn at my reproof, or my rebuke. Behold, I will pour out my spirit upon you. I will make known my words to you. Now, the difference between King Saul and King David was simply this. Saul, when he was rebuked by the Holy One, when the counsel of God, and sometimes that's through people and through circumstances, God gets our attention. He chastens us. He shows us we're on the wrong path. Saul, when God rebuked him, he refused to listen. He refused to turn around. Now he might say, I have sinned, I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but then he just went on doing the same old thing. David, just the opposite. With brokenness, he turned from his sin and asked God for grace and help. And he says, so it will be a kindness to me. If I'm rebuked, it'll be like excellent oil. In other words, it will bring healing to me as I turn from my ways to his ways. Remember whom the Lord, Hebrews 12, whom the Lord loves, he chastens every son whom he receives. Oh, my friend, let the righteous one strike us, and it will be good for us if we will turn from the direction we're going to do the right thing. So David says, I'll seek and I'll accept wise counsel. And so should we in our time of trial and even attack from the enemy. Well, God bless you, and you have a wonderful, wonderful day.